Hello children, this video class is an initiative of Shivjyoti Educational Group. I am Shravya Vyas and today we shall be revising social science. So before we start with the chapter, please open your book page number 57. Today we will be revising chapter 8, the climate of our country, and chapter 11, forests of India. So I request all of you to please open your textbook page number 57. So first we will start with revision of chapter 8, the climate of our country. The points to remember in this chapter are weather and climate, factors on which the climate of a place depends, seasons, and in seasons we shall be doing summer season, rainy season and winter season. So let's start with weather and climate. What is weather? Weather is the condition of atmosphere of a particular place at a particular time, and weather changes very fast. So let's say it was cloudy in the morning and suddenly by afternoon it is sunny. So weather changes very fast. In contrast to climate, what is climate? Climate is the average weather conditions of a large area over a long period of time, and you won't find climate changing very fast. For example, if I say it is cold in the Himadris, it means Himadri has been cold since many years. That is, climate does not change like how weather changes. Now let's come to the next point, factors on which the climate of a place depends. The climate of a place depends on the following factors. 1. It depends on how far it is from the equator. Then it depends on how far it is from the sea, and it also depends on how high the place is. So let's talk about how far it is from the equator. This is your equator, and as the point says, the farther a place is from the equator, the cooler it becomes. Okay? So if you actually notice, South India is closer to the equator and North India is farther away from the equator. So this means that North India is cooler than South India. Our next point is how far it is from the sea. So the closer a place is to the sea, the cooler it becomes. So that's why you will find that in coastal plains where it is closer to the sea, the temperature is neither too hot nor too cold because of the cool breeze it receives from the sea. And the third point is how high it is. Okay, so the higher the places, the cooler it becomes. For example, in the Himalayas, at the base of the mountain, the temperature is not so cold, but as you climb higher the mountains, the temperature becomes colder. Okay? So these are the factors which the climate depends on. Now let's come to the next point, seasons. India has 3 main seasons in the year, that is 1 summer season, 2 rainy season and 3 winter season. Let us talk about the summer season. Summer season. Summer season in South India and in North India. In South India, summer season starts from March and continues till May. And in North India, summer season starts in April and continues till July. Okay. In summer, it is hot and dry throughout the country. Okay. In the northern plains, loo and dust storms make the country warmer. What is loo? Loo is nothing but hot dry winds, and dust storms are hot dry winds accompanied by sand and dust. the days in the summer season, days are longer than the nights. Days are longer than the nights, and throughout the country we experience hot and dry weather except the mountains. Now let's come to the next season, that is your rainy season. Rainy season is also called monsoon season. Why is it called monsoon? Because the monsoon winds from the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea, they blow to the land and they bring rain to the entire country. Mawsynram in Meghalaya receives the highest rainfall in the country, and the Thar Desert and Run of Kutch receives the least rainfall in the country. We shall now talk about the winter season. When does the winter season start? Winter season starts in October and continues till March or February. So in winter season, the days are shorter than the nights. In winter season, days are shorter than the nights, and in the northern plains, extreme temperatures are experienced, and in the Himalayas, it is extremely cold. But as you come south, towards the south direction, the winters become very pleasant, and in the coastal plains, the weather is really pleasant. So this concludes with this chapter. We shall now cover the internal questions, bookwork and copy work of this chapter. We shall now do the internal questions. Question 1. Name the places which receive very little rainfall in India. Answer is the Thar Desert in Rajasthan and the Run of Kutch receive very little rainfall. For this, I want you to come to page number 59. I don't want you to write these questions in the copywork or any rough book. I want you to write it directly in the textbook. Come to page number 59. Okay. Write question number 1 here. Write question number 1 here. Name the places which receive very little rainfall in India. And where is the answer? The answer is the Thar Desert in Rajasthan and the Run of Kutch receive very little rainfall. Now let's come to question 2. In which place of India is the highest rainfall ever recorded in 1 year? The answer is the highest rainfall ever recorded in 1 year is in Cherrapunji. So for this also in the same page, but come to the box of did you know. Okay? Write question 2 at the top of this box. In which place of India is the highest rainfall ever recorded in 1 year? And the answer is the highest rainfall ever recorded in 1 year is in Cherrapunji. Please underline this sentence. The highest rainfall ever recorded in 1 year is in Cherrapunji. Now let's proceed to the bookwork questions. Come to page number 60 and start with the fill in the blanks. Exercise A, fill in the blanks. When you talk of the weather conditions throughout the year, you are talking of the climate, because climate indicates a weather condition of a long period of time. Question 2. The farther a place is from the equator, the colder it is expected to be. And question 3. Hot and dry winds that carry dust and sand are called dust storms, and these blow in the northern plains. Question 4. Winds full of moisture that bring rain to India are called monsoon winds. Question 5. The winter season lasts from October to February or March. Now come to exercise B. Write T for true and F for false statements. First question. The higher a place is, the cooler it will be. It is true. Second question. Humid air in summers makes the weather pleasant. It is a false statement because humid air in summers make us very uncomfortable because we sweat a lot at that time. Question 3. Rains start earlier in South India than in North India. It is true because in South India rain starts in June, while in North India rain starts by end of June or beginning of July. Question 4. During winter days are longer than in summer. It is false because in winter days are shorter than in summer. Now let's come to page number 61 and multiple choice questions. Question 1. When your friend tells you that it is a cold and wet day, he is talking about the weather, because whatever condition of the atmosphere that is for a short period of time, then it becomes weather. Question 2. Which of these do not affect the climate of a place? We learnt about 3 factors that affect the climate of a place. So, A. Distance from the equator, yes. Distance from the sea, that is also a factor. The height of a place above sea level, that is also a factor. But D. The plant and animal life found in a place do not affect the climate of a place. So, you have to take D. The plant and animal life found in a place. Question 3. The rainy season in India is also called monsoon. Question 4. During summer, the days are longer than the nights. B. The days are short and nights are long. C. Both days and nights are of equal length. And D. None of the above. And the correct is during summer, the days are longer than the nights. Question 5. The Coromandel coast receive rains from November to December, while the rest of the parts of the country they receive rain from June to September, except for Coromandel coast it receives rain from November to December. Now let's start with the copy work. Define the following. First is humidity. Amount of water vapor or moisture in the air is humidity. Question 2. Equator. An imaginary line drawn around the middle of the earth dividing into 2 halves. Now let's proceed to answer the following questions. Question 1. What is the difference between weather and climate? Answer is weather and climate. Number 1. Weather is the condition of the atmosphere at a particular place and time, while climate is the average weather conditions of a large area over a long period of time. Question 2. Weather can change from day to day, that is, it can change very fast, but climate changes from place to place over a long period of time, that is, climate does not change fast. Question 2. What are the 3 main factors on which the climate of a place depends? The 3 main factors on which the climate of a place depends are: 1. The distance of a place from the equator, 2. The height of a place, and 3. The distance from the sea. Question 3. What kind of weather do we have during summers in the northern plains? We have hot and dry weather during summers in the northern plains. Question 4. Why does it start raining in India from June? The rainy season starts in India from June because winds full of moisture from the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal start flowing to the land. So what are these winds called? These winds are called monsoon winds. Question 5. Which parts of India get very heavy rain and which parts get very little rain during the rainy season? So Mawsynram in Meghalaya receives the highest rainfall in India, and the Thar Desert in Rajasthan and the Run of Kutch receive very little rainfall. let's start with the revision of chapter 11, Forests of India. The points to remember are importance of forests, then types of forests. We will be covering evergreen forest, deciduous forest, thorn forest, mountain or coniferous forest, and finally marshy and tidal forest. And we shall also learn about the various schemes of conservation of forests and wildlife. Let us talk about importance of forests. You get various useful products from forests. What are those useful products? They are timber, firewood, wood pulp, four resins, and 5 medicines. And in page number 74, please open your textbook page 74, and in page number 74 you will find importance of forests and the various useful products. Okay. So let's start with timber. Timber is used to make furniture, firewood is used as fuel, wood pulp is used in the manufacture of paper, resins are used in the manufacture of paints, and medicines, trees like neem and eucalyptus are used in the manufacture of various medicines. There are other useful ways of forests. What are the other uses of forests? Forests prevent soil erosion and control floods. Okay. And the second point is they supply oxygen to the air. And third, they increase rainfall. Fourth, they support tribal communities that live near the forest. And fifth, they provide shelter to wild animals. Okay. So what are the other uses of forests? They prevent soil erosion and control floods. They increase the oxygen level in the air. They increase rainfall, and they support the various tribal communities that live near the forest, and they provide shelter to the wild animals. Now let's discuss the different types of forests. There are different types of forests. They are 1. Evergreen forests, 2. Deciduous forests, 3. Thorn forests, 4. Mountain or coniferous forests, and 5. The martial and tidal forests. Let us now start with evergreen forests. Evergreen forests. As the name suggests, evergreen forests, the evergreen trees remain green throughout the year. Why do they remain green throughout the year? Because the leaves shed continuously, not all at once. Okay, the leaves shed continuously and not all at once. And examples of evergreen trees are rosewood and ebony. And where do you find such forests? You find evergreen forests in warm areas with plenty of rainfall. So where do we find these? In India, you will find them in the slopes of Western Ghats, You will find them in the slopes of Western Ghats and in the northeastern states of India, where you get plenty of rainfall. So, in India you find evergreen forests in the northeastern states of India and in the slopes of Western Ghats. Now, let us talk about deciduous forests. Now, we shall be talking about deciduous forests. Where do we find deciduous forests? You will find them in most areas of the southern plateau, and you will find them in the most southern plateau and in the foothills of Himalayas. And what kind of trees do you find here? You will find that the trees here shed their leaves during the summer and winter season when there is scarcity of water, but in the monsoon season, that is in the rainy season, these trees are completely green. So, deciduous forests are also called monsoon forests. And examples of deciduous forests are teak and sal. Okay. Now, what is the next type of forest? You have the thorn forest, where they are found in places that receive very less rainfall. Okay. So, which are the places that receive very less rainfall? You have parts of Rajasthan and some parts of the Deccan Plateau. And what type of trees grow here? You have short and thorny trees that grow here. Examples are kikar and babul. Now, let us quickly come to the mountain or coniferous forest. Mountain or coniferous forests, they are found in the mountain regions, that is in the Himalayas. Okay. So, what kind of trees do you find here? You will find cone shaped trees with needle shaped leaves. You will find cone shaped trees with needle shaped leaves. And what are the examples of coniferous trees? They are oak and pine are examples of mountain or coniferous forest. And last, you have marshy and tidal forests. Next, you have marshy and tidal forests. So, where are they found? They are found in the deltas of rivers like Ganga, Godavari and Mahanadi. So, in the delta region of Ganga, these forests are called Sundarbans, named after the Sundari trees that grow in the delta of Ganga. They are called Sundarbans, named after the Sundari trees that grow in the Ganga delta. Okay. So, this concludes with the types of forests. Let us now start with conservation of forests and wildlife. Various steps were taken to prevent deforestation and to conserve wildlife and forests. Okay. So, let us start with Chipko Movement. Chipko movement was led by Sunderla Bahuguna. So what he did was, he gathered the villagers there, and the villagers together, they gathered together and they went around the trees, hugged the trees tightly and refused to move, indicating that we will not allow the trees to be cut. So this was Chipko movement, and there are various steps taken by the government to conserve wildlife and forests. What are they? First is, these are the steps taken by the government. Okay. So what are those steps that the government took? One was Van Mahotsav. Van Mahotsava. And the second one is social forestry scheme. The third one is reserve forests. So let's start with Van Mahotsava. Government, in order to encourage people to plant trees, they started a festival called Van Mahotsava. Just like we light diyas during Diwali, government said that during Van Mahotsava, each and every citizen please plant trees and increase the natural vegetation of our country. So this is Van Mahotsava. Then they also introduced social forestry scheme. As you notice, there are many people who are dependent on forests for their firewood and fodder. So it is inevitable to cut down those trees. So the government told the rural people, you can cut down the trees, but at the same time you plant more trees. So this is your social forestry scheme, and in the end you have reserve forest, that is government has allotted special areas. They have reserved certain areas where killing of animals and cutting down of trees are not permitted. That is, they did this to preserve the wildlife there and the forest. So these reserve forests are known as wildlife sanctuaries and national parks. And national parks. Okay. So example of a wildlife sanctuary is Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary in Kerala, and example of national parks is the Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand. So this concludes the revision of this chapter. We shall proceed to the internal questions and the bookwork and copy work of chapter 11, Forests of India. So let's start with the internal questions. Question 1. Which forests are also called monsoon forests? Come to page number 76. Come, open your textbook, page 76. Take out your pencil and start writing. This is page 76. Okay, page 76. Question 1, just below the map, I want you to write question 1. Which forests are also called monsoon forests? The answer is right in the first paragraph. Deciduous forests are also called monsoon forests. I want you to underline this answer and I want you to write the question right above this paragraph. Which forests are also called monsoon forests? You need not write this in your copy work or any rough copy. Just directly write this in your textbook. Now let's come to the next question. Question 2. Who led the Chipko movement? Page number 77. Just like we discussed this, come to page number 77. Okay. Last second paragraph. This is last second. Come to page number 77. Write question 2 here. who led the Chipko movement? And the answer is right here in the last second line, Sunderla Bahuguna. So this is your answer and this is your question. Open your textbook page 79 and come to exercise A, fill in the blanks. The dash we get from trees is used to build houses. So the timber we get from trees is used to build houses. Question 2. Dash forests require a warm place with plenty of rainfall. So the answer is evergreen forests require a warm place with plenty of rainfall. And where do you find evergreen forests? You find them in the slopes of Western Ghats and in the northeastern states of our country. Question 3. Places with sandy oil and little rainfall will have thorn forest. So which places have sandy oil and little rainfall? You have places like Rajasthan with sandy oil and little rainfall and they have thorn forest. Question 4. Sunderla Bahuguna led the dash movement to prevent cutting down of trees. So he led the Chipko movement. Question B. Exercise B. Match the tree with the forest in which it grows best. Rosewood. Rosewood is the example of which tree? It is an example of evergreen tree. So rosewood grows best in an evergreen forest. Next you have Kikar. Kikar grow best in a thorn forest. Sundari trees, they grow best in a marshy forest. Pine tree, they grow best in a coniferous forest or mountain forest. And question 5, Shisham, they grow best in a deciduous forest. Now let's come to page 79, same page you will find multiple choice questions. Question 1, which of these do we not get from trees? A. Timber, B. Plastics, C. Rubber and D. Medicines. Obviously, we don't get plastics from trees. Question 2, teak and sal trees grow best in deciduous forest. Question 3, in which type of forest will you find trees with needle-like leaves? So, you will find trees with needle-like leaves in mountain forest or coniferous forest. Question 4, in which of these areas will you find thorn forest? You will find thorn forest in a land with very less rainfall. So, your option is C, land with low rainfall. Question 5, what kind of forest will you find in the Sundarbans? That is A, coniferous forest, B, tidal forest, C, deciduous forest or D, thorn forest, and the answer is B, tidal forest. Now let's come to the copy work. Answer the following questions. Question 1, name 4 useful products we get from forests. Answer, the 4 useful products are 1 gum, 2 firewood, 3 rubber and 4 medicines. Question 2, what kind of forest covers a large part of central and northern India? Deciduous forest covers a large part of central and northern India. Question 3, what do you mean by the natural vegetation of an area? Answer is, the trees and other plants that grow naturally in a region depending on the climate and soil are called the natural vegetation of an area. Question 4, other than providing useful products, list 3 other ways in which forests are useful to us. The forests can be useful to us in many ways. They prevent soil erosion and control flood. They supply oxygen to the air and they provide shelter to wild animals. So these are the things that we had already discussed during the revision. Question 5, what is the difference between evergreen and deciduous forests? The difference between evergreen and deciduous forests is, here's your evergreen forest and your deciduous forest. First difference, evergreen forests receive heavy rainfall And question 2, deciduous forests receive less rainfall, that is during the summer and winter season deciduous forests do not receive rainfall but only in the rainy season. Question 2, they shed their leaves at different time of the year. And deciduous forests shed their leaves at a particular time of the year. Examples of evergreen trees are ebony and rosewood, and examples of deciduous forests are teak and sal. Question 6, what was the Chipko movement? In 1974, under the leadership of Sunderla Bahuguna, people of Uttarakhand started a movement by clinging around the trees and refused to move to prevent deforestation. This movement was known as the Chipko movement. Question 7. What are the advantages of having wildlife sanctuaries and national parks? Wildlife sanctuaries and national parks help to prevent deforestation and conserve wildlife. The government does not permit the cutting of trees and killing of wildlife in these forests. So, this concludes with the revision of chapter 8 and chapter 11. Thank you all for watching the video. Take care and bye.